And the next power tool build, got this Central Machinery belt sander. Bought it a few years back. Brand spanking new. Didn't even get a whole lot of use out of it, but it's been kind of occasional. So what we're going to do, this motor, just like my drill press over there, has a bad start capacitor. But this one I'm sure of because it let the magic smoke out. So let's beef this one up too. What do you say? What do you say? Well, there's your problem. Okay, so this thing's got some 8mm holes, and I'm gonna come in from the other side, get this squared, do a scratch awl on the other side and drill out to match it. So I've got 2 bolts holding this on. Open this hole up to 1/2 inch, which will match that on the motor. And then I'm going to see, I'm not sure, but I think I can run a piece from this 8mm hole down to that adjustment slot. And let's see how this works. Alright, unfortunately I had to leave y'all out of a lot of the juicy details. But basically, this is the only belt I've got kicking around. It's well past when everyone's closed for the day. So I ain't going to be going to the store to get a new one at the moment. So I found this this tri-pulley, which was actually on the motor that I just swapped onto the drill press from whatever that motor came out of. Happens to fit on this shaft with a little bit of shim, and it's got a slightly smaller pulley here, which allows me to. There's still a good bit of slack on this, but it's not like coming off, which it was before. And the original pulley here, I had to bore it out, and I took this key and I grounded taper onto it so it wedges in there and gets in what's left of the keyway to hold that on. I'll probably end up shearing it off at some point, but whatever. Burn that bridge when we get to it. And I took this piece here, drilled, there was an existing hole here. I enlarged this hole to 1/2 inch to fit a 1/2 inch bolt. Drilled a new hole here and squared it up and bolted it down to the original stock of this thing. And I took this this piece of angle, and I've got, this was an original mount for the table for the disc sander, which I don't plan on using. Put a U-bolt around it, and of course bolted this to another existing hole on this. And this is my adjuster here. I got a carriage bolt in it, and hopefully this will work well enough to test it with. I still got to wire it up, as you can see. Alright, we're hooked up. Again, that belt's a little slack, but we're going to smoke test it. Poop. Okay, take 2. I believe we have some kind of a problem. Oh no. Oh no. You know, yesterday it was like 70 something. And we had thunderstorms and such. Okay. Working blind isn't really good when you have to match wire colors. Alright, let's see. I don't wanna. Okay, so we're gonna see. I got my start capacitor here, and these two connectors here go to the centrifugal switch. So these are my two wires. Now my run capacitor is connected here and here. This wire here, actually. And so I think if I cut this and connect them, and then the stub from this goes to here and goes to the switch, that should reverse the direction, I think. Alright, I'm not going to put it any more together, but I want that way. Not going to put it all together anymore till I know it works, so. And okay. Okay, so I'm thinking, I'm not sure, but I'm thinking. I got these two, not these two. These two leads right here were twisted together and soldered, and these were the only pair of direct windings that were bonded together. And so I think these are the two I need to split. That's what needs to have the run and start capacitors across them. And then where the start and run capacitors were soldered together, were soldered in, I need to connect those two. And then I have to figure out what order the other windings, the main windings. I was smart enough to leave these connected, but I was a dumbass and I cut off these. So I need to figure out which is which. I may just trial and error it. But in the meantime, moment of truth. Fuck. Well, I guess I'm halfway there, because now it's a break. It's like the anti-motor. Let's try this with some organization. Yeah. Okay, so I got a power supply, and I got a compass in here. Now what I'm expecting is I'm expecting two coils to be 90 degrees off from the other two, and the one's going to be the starter and one's going to be the run coil. So let's there we go. All right. That's 180 out. Okay, that one's the same. Okay, that one's 90 degrees off. Okay, so my top one is my starting starting winding, and so my blue here, as I'm calling it, I've got my blue is a starter winding, the orange, yellow, and black are all primary run windings. The black one I have reversed, so I'm going to chase those wires and flip them around in here so my colors match. And so what I should be able to do is put hook the starting caps, the start cap and the run cap across this winding, the blue one here, and I should be able to configure this to be able to change direction on this, because I've had a little bit of a change of plan. I'm going to take this entire thing. I've got a piece of an angle plate fixture that somebody made that I've had kicking around. I'm going to flip this 90 degrees, so I'll have an upright and I'll have a flat version of this without hitting this, because this will hit, the belt will hit this if I have it flat in this configuration. So I'm going to turn this thing 90 degrees, and I'm going to put a switch on here that allows me to run it one way than the other, because if you'll notice, this belt, it's got a solid plate, it's got a solid backing right here, and then it's got a slack belt on the back side. And I want to be able to do slack belt grinding, and I want to be able to do it with a plate behind it. So this is going to be the ultimate super powered, overpowered mega dyno whopper machine of doom, I think. Yeah. Look at that smiley face. Okay, been rewired. Let's see. We got orange. All right. Yellow. All right. It's like, don't short, please. And black. All right, okay, so I got myself a four-way switch, which should allow me to go, basically two of my outputs go to the rotor, or not the rotor, to the starter winding, and then the two inputs alternate depending on how the switch is. So I should be going through the starter one way versus the other way, and should be able to reverse the motor. I hope. That should work. I've drawn it. There's pictures and everything. Okay, so I've just got this wired up temporary style. I've got the caps just here hanging out of the box. I've got a four-way switch, which normally you'd use for setting lights, but what it does is it takes two inputs and two outputs and it switches them. It basically crisscrosses them depending on how you're feeding, or depending on how the switch is switched. And so the relationship between the capacitors and the starting winding is what determines the direction that this thing turns. So I'm thinking that having the hot wire goes to the caps. I don't have the centrifugal switch because I'm just going to bump it. But I have the hot wire going to the caps in parallel, which then goes to one side of the winding through the switch, then back out of the winding through the switch again to my neutral. So we're yeah, smoke test. All right. So that is the opposite direction. Now, yes! Yes! Ha ha ha! I'm not a dumbass after all. Okay, cleaned up the wires, and let's make sure I didn't screw anything up. doesn't sound right. Fuck. Fuck. Okay, I did some finagling and some hunting and some looking, and I unhooked my yellow marked winding. And so that seems to be the problem, because okay. So that one's turning right, turning counterclockwise, or turning clockwise, and I marked it as such. So I switch it to left. And you can see it turns left. I marked it as left. Now, if I take a moment here and I reconnect, I disconnect the other two windings and just connect the yellow winding and cut here. Okay, swap the wires around. Yeah! Shit. Alrighty, I have no idea if what I did was right, but I got it to work. Basically, what I've changed, rather than all three of those coils in parallel, now I have two of them, the black and the red, in series, and then connected to power. The yellow is connected in parallel to those two, connected to power, and then of course the starting circuit. Because one thing I was getting, I tried all three in series, and it started and it ran and it didn't blow fuses, but it would only get hot fast enough to disengage the starter cap in one direction. It would spin the other direction, but it wouldn't get fast enough to disengage the starter cap. So I thought, well, I tried a few things. I tried reversing polarity on the starting circuit, tried a couple others. But then I settled on this, and now both directions, happy as a clam. So I'm gonna close that cover up, and then we're gonna get to reattaching that and making my new base. Base. So next stage, we've got this big chungus plate that came with the mill. It's a nice about, oh, I don't know what this was, probably an angle plate for some fixture that they did with that, but I don't have much use for it, except what I think I'm going to do, since I've got my sander here, is I'm actually going to turn it 90 on that base. So I'm going to take this 90-degree angle, I'm going to bolt that to it, and I'm going to put that, and then I'm going to be able to have an upright belt grinder and be able to lay it down. And the upright one will be able to be a slack belt or a solid one, or when I lay it down, it'll be just the solid base. So now I've marked some holes, and now I got to drill them. So you go earn your keep now, boy. Okay, so here is the souped up belt sander as it sits now. So obviously I drilled a few holes, bolted it to this humongous plate, and bolted the humongous plate down to the original base for it. Went through my big box of pulleys and stuff, found some pulleys that'll pulley and belt combo that'll work. And the basic functionality is up. On this, the actual arm that holds the belt has normally has bolt holes here and here, but that only allows it to go from this to flat the other way. And I need it to go from that to this way. So I had to drill 2 holes in it, 90 degrees off from the originals, thread bolts through. I've got some really narrow square nuts in there to hold it on, but it'll fold down flat so I can get to that either way. And the other thing, which I kind of overlooked when I was doing this, not a lot of room between my junction box here and the switch. I'm going to have to do something about that, but I'm going to have to do something about that anyway because it's still not 100%. Because if you'll watch, okay, it's running this way. My centrifugal switch, happy as a clam. If I switch directions on it, though, there we go. It spins the other way, but it doesn't reliably get up to speed enough to trigger the centrifugal switch, which that's kind of fucking weird. I don't really know why that would be. And it's also kind of funny because this reverse direction down on this side of the belt is the original direction for that motor. And it starts better in that direction. And if I reverse it, run it the reverse direction, this direction, it starts much more slowly, but it reliably gets up to speed. Whereas this way, it doesn't hesitate at all. Or maybe this thing's gonna make a liar out of me. Well, you know what? I'm gonna do some walk-arounds and some slow-mo footage of this thing, and then I'm gonna call it for tonight, because I guess it's haunted or something. It'll learn to like me, I think. Plugging that in. So, we're gonna do this cordless style. And we've got a table. That's pretty impressive for a cordless little thing. Eh? That looked pretty good. Just gotta bring it down here. I'm gonna make one angle block that goes from these and holds it up like that, a little bit up there. And then I'm gonna run another piece of angle right across here. which should support it there. And then I just need to relocate the switches, and yeah, then I'll have my whole operation. I'll have this verticality, and I will be able to get to horizontality, and it'll be great. Okay, so this scrap here is going to be my work table. Drilled 3 holes here. Bolted it to a piece of angle. Bolted the angle to the base. The kind of shape of it is just the scrap. This piece was originally like an offcut from something, I don't know. But yeah, this is going to be it. And the main thing I've got to do here, I got to mark and drill. I'm going to go ahead and put those 2 bolts through to support this thing, get it square, drill the holes, and then have a support out here. And then yeah, we got grinder station. It's looking good. I gotta get rid of that central machinery sticker. That's cramping my style, man. Okay, so this thing is done as far as I'm concerned. Final changes made. The switch, I took it out of the project box and broke it out with this cable to this box over here with a cut where I put the switch as well as the power switch, and put a stainless cover on the project box. And I'm going to get some sheet metal and run it from under here and down to protect the motor from all the grinding dust that's going to come off of this. And probably cut up another piece of sheet metal to go here. But besides that, I've got my big grinding table. I got my upright. Can lay it down flat. And of course I can contour sand with the slack side of the belt. And there ain't no stall in this, I'll tell you what. So that is it for this one. It's going into the welding shop down at the other end, and this will be well, I think this will serve me well. Thank y'all once again for watching, and hope you like this new format with my little avatar thing here. I think it reflects kind of how I operate, and well, we'll see where this goes.